Welcome to BizTV's Beyond the Brand. I'm Kelli Phillips. Today we're joined by Coach Evan Raoof, founder of Fit Living Academy. Evan is passionate about helping clients find a better way to live, lead, and grow. Stick around for more Beyond the Brand. Are you ready to finally hit your fitness goals? Well, our next guest is all about making that happen. We're joined by Coach Evan Raoof from Fit Living Academy, and he's here to give us the tools and the motivation we need to live our healthiest lives. Welcome, Evan. How are you?
Kelli, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing really well today. Thanks.
Good. First, I want to start out with your background. Where'd you grow up? What was life like? And how did you get into what you're doing today?
Well, I grew up in a great place to be from, Buffalo, New York. So that's where I started, grew up, and I just love. So one of the things that I was born with a form of cerebral palsy that impacted the right side of my body, and so exercise transformed my life, and really the opportunity that really transformed my life into helping people be healthy and be fit. So that's where it came from.
And then what really inspired you to found Fit Living Academy, and why are you so passionate about people living a healthy lifestyle?
When I mentioned briefly about this, like you start out, and when exercise transformed my life, I did other things, and I looked at the opportunity of like, how do I really want to help other people? Because everybody has a story to tell in terms of, why they're not doing certain things. But exercise and being healthy really helps transform your life in so many ways. Takes you from, being a victim to a victor, and then also gives you independence and freedom. And when I started training about 25 years ago, I was working with older adults, and I really can relate to people in that regard of like just getting started in terms of being healthy. And now it's transformed to really more coaching and getting people to really take hold of their life to understand the value of it. And I consider myself more of a health and performance coach now because, it isn't really about how much you can lift or your last meal you had and your metabolism. It is about how you look in terms of your performance every single day. As a parent, as a grandparent, as a business leader, etc., and focusing on those areas that really can help people be better for themselves. We're going to be living longer, and the opportunity is there for us to be our best self every single day.
What are some of the excuses you hear from people?
I don't want to look that big. I don't want big muscles. I don't want this. I don't want that. But and the big excuse is they don't really have the time. That's the number one reason. But at the same time, when people start looking at taking ownership of themselves, I feel that when someone really makes the choice of learning how to get healthy, their exercise, nutrition, all that aspect, it is really ownership of your life. It is giving someone access to an action of, I actually love myself and I want better for the people around me. And once they start it's very hard getting started, I know, but at the same time, as they start realizing, the motivation really turns inspiration because they're going to really be present for what's really most important to them in their life.
I've got to ask, what makes your program, Fit Living Academy, different from all the other fitness camps out there?
You know what? I know it may be cliche, but I do care about individuals. Even though now in the industry we're trying to looking for one to many, but it's like looking at really a solid structure to help people start exactly where they are, and really look at like in terms of exercise, mobility, what's really holding them back? Why aren't they able to move the right way, pain-free? They might be in pain. They might not know exactly where to start. And then looking at, I call it teaching the skills needed to be healthy. So there's certain skills we need to master. And so once we get those down, we start seeing and feel, more importantly, we feel results so that we want to continue on And it's really not about the exercise, but what can you do with the healthy body that you have and the opportunities you have.
Can you kind of go over the core approach to Fit Living Academy?
So the core approach really is really helping people put a structure in place to really be healthy. We have to have 4 core principles: mindset, mobility, muscle, and metabolism. And really each one is not any less important than the other. Because a lot of times people, because we talk about fitness, we talk about exercise, but we can't have great mobility and strength without fueling it with proper nutrition and supplementation. That goes hand in hand with the right mindset to really be open, to be coachable. Whether you work with me or look at the internet and look at, okay, and make a choice, like this is the path I'm going to take. And so really get people present to know each area. And, in the beginning, there might be one more, a focus more than the other. But at the end of the day, like the wellness wheel, we actually look at, all 4 key areas, like how do you maintain it over the course of your life? Because people come to us for a certain goal, and the goal may be accomplished within 3 months, 6 months to a year, but this is something that we want to embrace for our entire life. So really teaching people skills. So if I'm not here, or they can actually know where to start again and come back to us or maintain with us, and our relationship changes because we're not coaching them as much in the beginning, but more of accountability for those people that really want to take ownership of their health.
I love the fact that you work with each person individually where they are in life, because everybody's different. Do you think that goes into the success of your program because you do start where they are?
I think so. I mean, we actually have the program that we have, the Fit Living Blueprint, really gives us access to work individually and small groups. There are certain activities within those 4 key areas that, okay, someone like exercise, that may be more in the beginning, it may be 1-to-1 or 1-to-4. And then when we talk about metabolism and weight loss, we're all talking about all these things. We can actually work in a larger group and work together. But in terms of like everything else, we have a space for everybody to start exactly where they are so that they can feel more comfortable. Because the biggest opportunity is people are fearful of getting started because they're not really sure. So they don't start at all.
Isn't that the easier thing to do? Just not start at all? But they'll feel better if they actually started. Yeah. Now, tell us where you're located, and can people actually take part in the program if they're located somewhere other than where you are?
So I realize, as a coach, most of my business is through Zoom and online. So I can work with clients throughout the country and in Canada and throughout the world. We do have people we work locally, independent, but not as many as before. But at the same time, like getting people started exactly where we are, to give them a structure in place to get moving and get going, and then having a place of accountability for them to really have access. And we find success in community and helping them.
How important is accountability?
It's very important. I mean, a lot of times people, like you mentioned, Kelly, it's like people have trouble getting started because they don't know where to start. They're fearful. But I always find, this is tried and true since I started. I always feel like I'm very privileged to be sitting in front of someone because I know they've tried other things. They're not really foolproof on it. They don't know where to start, and they've not continued before. So being access to help them, okay, this is the structure put in place, and teaching them. It's different than training them and, okay, we'll just work out and you learn this. But they have to learn this on their own, learn this with us so they can take ownership of it. I want a client for the rest of their lives, but the relationship changes because they're taking ownership, and now it's even more accountable. You're held accountable to what you said you're going to do. And if things are hard, that's when you need someone the most to really get through those humps, because everybody faces challenges, and we can nib it in the bud because you can answer the question. And then that being said, is journaling and keeping track of things gives us access to know, okay, where we are. And there's something simple. Like I think at the same time when we're talking to clients, sometimes women, like when you look at a journal of how they're doing over a month or two or three, you're always going to look at what I can't do, but we can always see what's really there. And so that we can, put a question mark. Like for women, certain times they might gain a little bit of weight because of that's the time of month. Mm-hmm. And they may look at, I'm always gaining weight all the time. But it's like when we can pinpoint what this is, then we can actually put more of an emotion to it to really nip it in the bud, because this is part of the process. At the same time, if something is really is continuing, we can actually say, this is something we need to address. We can bring in a health practitioner to help us support that, so we can nip it in the bud and take action on it right away. So that's the importance of accountability and keep people on track.
Evan, we need to take a quick break, but we've got some other questions for you, so stick around and we'll be right back to talk with Coach Evan Raoof. And we are back with Coach Evan Raoof with Fit Living Academy. And Evan, how do you personalize fitness and nutrition plans for individuals that have very different needs and goals?
Well, the opportunity is really to get them to know exactly where they're starting and looking at, okay, what we have. We have a specific program that really focuses on low glycemic impact eating, educating them on how to eat the right types of food and supplementation. And really, if there's a specific that I'm not privy to or understand more, I bring in a health practitioner to really help them understand, where they need to start. There is the good, the better, and the best, but really looking at the basic foundation of getting someone started and looking at how we can help them get the basics down. And we have, with technology, there's so many advancements that give them access to get better specific results, because they need to know more. So like if someone has disease or things like that, or like MS or cancer, we can talk to other people that can give us more access to get more specific about that situation so that we can support them. But with exercise and nutrition, the foundation is even more important for everybody to get started, because it does help any type of disease or illness to help them go. Even if someone's taking medication, it helps fill the gap in like what their needs are to get better or control the symptoms. And sometimes we can't say that it's going to heal all the way, but definitely they'll feel better because they're moving and taking care of their body.
I've got to ask, what's your biggest success story or transformation that you've seen over the years?
I was thinking about this question a few days ago in regards to that. I've helped 3 or 4 women sit in front of me. They were sitting in front of me and said that, they were pregnant when their doctor said they wouldn't be able to have children. But the one person that really changed my business thoughts over about 15 years ago was Margaret. I'd worked with her. Now, Margaret was her daughter. I worked with her, Margaret, and I also work with her husband and her daughter. And she wanted to introduce me to her grandmother, who was 89 years old. And Mary, the grandmother, had been stuck in her senior apartment for about 10 years and really didn't get out very much. And after the first time we went together, we met, and I gave her some simple exercises to do. I said, I want you to drink more water, and I want you to really just do these 3 exercises I gave you. I came to see her Wednesday, and then Friday, I came back. And then when I opened the door, she had her eyes wide open. She smiled, and she gave me a big hug. And Mary, 89 years old, told me, I haven't slept in 10 years. And I really, she loved what we were doing. And I went to train her for another 8 years, or 8 or 9 years. But most importantly, what it was, it got me thinking, because Mary, was able to get out of her apartment, travel across the country with her grandchildren and her family, and do so many things that really, it gets me goosebumps thinking about this. Something as simple as that. Get her out of the apartment, go spend time with your family, because it's not about how much you lift or how much you can do. It's being happy and being part of your family. And she passed away at 101 years old.
Wow.
And so like that was a big change for me in how I looked at things. Because it isn't really about anything more than how are you being for your family. It's not about you. It's really about your family is counting on you to be there. Now, this is the truth. Medical technology is going to give us access to living longer. Even with disease, we can live longer. But how you live with disease can be impactful when you start taking ownership of your health. That's what I learned from that moment in working with her. And that's how I approach with all clients I have. We don't have to wait till 89 years old, but that's the long-term plan.
I remember when my grandmother was alive and she would look at me and she said, "Don't ever stop moving, because when you do is when you die." Is that a true statement?
I would think yes in some ways, because there's a lot of studies right now coming out in terms of lean muscle tissue. We haven't really talked about that specifically, but lean muscle tissue is the superpower. The studies show that like socialization is really important to people's lives, and it associates to quadriceps strength. When people can't have a weakness and don't move, they can't get off the couch, can't get off the toilet. And unfortunately, when things happen with disease, people don't come and visit as much. So people need to get out of the house and do things. And that's getting around people that really like and you like to be around. So I totally agree with that statement. It doesn't have to be that way. And it's like, simple things, that someone can do. So I totally agree, Kelli. Totally.
So what are some common challenges that your clients face, and how do you get them to overcome those obstacles?
The challenges that they face really is they're not confident in their ability to take on learning something new. So really, when we sit down with them, we kind of lay out what's needed to learn to really put a structure and accountability in place. Because some people balk at accountability, but once they start getting more confident learning something, that's why it's important to start with someone exactly at right now. Because my workouts and my lifestyle is going to be different than yours, and understanding the limitations that you have, or not so much limitations, but things that you need to address. Is it mobility or flexibility? Where does that pain come in when you have pain in the joints? Is it lack of hydration? Is it lack of food? Is it bone structure? Now, I'm not a physical therapist, so if it's something that's not corrective, I can't help that. But if a corrective exercise, we can support and understand that. And it's important when you start where you're at, we can kind of progress them through the different stages. As I mentioned before, there's the good, the better, and the best. There's 25% of the population are actively taking on their health or exercising, 25% of the population. So we have a big opportunity to really help everybody really get started. And once you get started, then you start seeing the benefits of it and the outcome of performing every day like you should be. Then you decide where the next step is, how you're going to take on your life and really be present for what's most important to you.
How has technology changed the way you coach today?
Yeah, it's definitely true. With COVID, business was really taking a back seat, and through Zooms, it was a lifeline. And technology, like a lot of business, is done through the video, but we were talking about the good, better, best. We have technology today that you can take a test, take a swab and you can tell exactly what your body needs nutrient-wise, so you can actually support that specifically. Now, this technology is really fantastic, but at the same time, getting someone started to appreciate eating more vegetables, having a higher protein intake every day. Before, a few years ago, get people to have 30 or 40 grams of protein was a good thing. But now the science shows as we get older, we need to have more protein on a daily basis, even almost 0.8 to 1 gram per protein per pound of body weight. So it's really important in terms of building structure to help help someone live an active lifestyle. So that's really important, very much, very important.
So how could folks get in touch with you if they want to find out more about Fit Living Academy?
So we can reach out to me at myfitlivinglife.com. That's the best place there. And I'm also on all social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and alignable.com. And you can reach me at Evan Raoof. That's handle Evan Raoof.
And for folks that are at home, that's RAOOF, Raoof.
Thank you. Thanks.
Coach Evan Raoof, thanks so much for joining us with Fit Living Academy, and best of luck to you in the future.
Kelli, thanks so much for having me. Have a great day. Thanks.
You too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for watching BizTV's Beyond the Brand. Be sure to subscribe to the BizTV YouTube channel, where you'll find full episodes of this show, fresh BizTV content, and a few surprises each week to help you stay inspired.